It's day 3. You haven't seen sunlight since Tuesday. The steel door behind you weighs 400 pounds, and the combination lock feels like the most comforting thing you've ever touched. Outside, the world is ash and static. Inside, you've got 6 months of freeze-dried food, a hand-cranked radio, and the quiet, terrified pride of someone who actually prepared. Then you smell it. It's not the recycled air, not the canned food. It's something older and more personal than that. A warm, sweetish rot at the back of your sinuses that immediately tells your brain something is very, very wrong. You check on the kids, you check the vents, you check the seams on the blast door. You don't check the toilet. You should have checked the toilet. Because right now, at floor level, a colourless, odourless gas is pooling around your ankles like an invisible tide. Your waste tank, the one you specced out on a forum at 2 in the morning 6 months ago, was never designed for a sealed, pressurized environment. And the laws of physics don't care how much you spent on it. In the next 48 hours, your family's own biology is going to become the most dangerous thing in this bunker. Not the fallout, not the radiation. This. Let's talk about what's actually living in your walls right now. When organic waste decomposes in an enclosed space, it doesn't just sit there quietly and wait to be dealt with. It produces gas, lots of it. Methane, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, all of them invisible, most of them heavier than air, and collectively they are doing exactly one thing: replacing the breathable oxygen at the floor of your bunker with something that is decidedly not oxygen. You thought your P-trap would act as a one-way door, that little curved section of pipe under every drain. Water fills the curve, gas can't come back up. Simple, effective. You read about it, you felt confident. Here's what the forum post didn't mention. A P-trap relies on atmospheric pressure being roughly equal on both sides of the water column. Your bunker is sealed. It is not, in any meaningful sense, connected to the atmosphere anymore. Which means that as your waste tank fills up and begins off-gassing, the pressure inside that tank rises. 2 degrees of temperature increase. Just 2 degrees from the body heat of 4 adults sitting in a 10 by 10 room. That is enough to increase the off-gassing pressure inside a sealed sewage tank by roughly 15%. 15% doesn't sound like much, until you realize it's enough to push past a standard P-trap. The water seal that was supposed to be your last line of defense just became a pressure valve, and it's opening. You still haven't smelled the hydrogen sulfide yet, by the way. That's the rotten egg smell everyone talks about. But here's the terrifying part. At high concentrations, hydrogen sulfide actually paralyzes your olfactory nerve. The worse it gets, the less you can smell it. Your nose, the one warning system you were counting on, switches off right when you need it most. The gas that is going to kill you will eventually become completely invisible to your senses. Cute engineering problem. Day 3, evening. Someone needs to use the bathroom. They flush, and nothing goes down. Instead, slowly, magnificently, in the way that only true disasters announce themselves, black water begins rising back up through the bowl. Not quickly, not dramatically, just a slow, deliberate backflow of sewage, grey water, and everything your family has produced in 72 hours of sealed underground living. It reaches the rim. It spills over. It is on the floor. It is on your shoes. The smell hits like a wall. Not the sharp, rotten egg of hydrogen sulfide, but something thicker and wetter, a warm biological pressure that coats the inside of your mouth and makes every breath feel like a personal insult. You pull your shirt up over your nose, your eyes are watering. The kids are in the doorway asking what's happening, and you are telling them, "It's fine, everything is fine, stay back, please stay back." Here's what's happening. Coliform bacteria, the kind that live in human intestinal waste, are now airborne. A leak of this magnitude in a 10 by 10 sealed space will colonize every exposed surface within approximately 6 hours. Your food prep counter, your bedding, the hand-cranked radio, the canned goods you stack so carefully along the east wall. Everything that the recirculated air touches, the bacteria touches. You cannot open a window. You cannot ventilate. The one thing that would solve this problem, fresh air, is what you sealed yourself away from. You are mopping sewage off the floor of your bunker with paper towels, and the growing, nauseating understanding that you have made a catastrophic error. The methane concentration in the air around you is climbing. At 1,000 parts per million, the human body triggers something researchers call the vomit reflex. This isn't a figure of speech. Your brainstem, recognizing that something in the ambient air is deeply wrong, initiates a purge response. You will begin to gag. In a sealed, recirculated environment, that reflex doesn't stop when the source of the smell is removed, because the source of the smell is the room. You are going to vomit in your bunker. This is where your $80,000 survival investment stands. Let's do the math that nobody on the prepper forums wanted to run. Methane becomes explosive at 5% atmospheric concentration. That's the headline number, the dramatic one. But the number that actually matters is much lower. At roughly 1,000 parts per million, which is just 0.1%, methane is triggering physiological stress responses in your family. Headaches, nausea, disorientation. The symptoms are almost identical to the early stages of carbon monoxide poisoning, which means there's a very good chance you will misdiagnose what's happening to you right up until it stops mattering. A documented case study involving a family of 4 using a standard RV-style black water tank in a sealed underground shelter found methane accumulation displacing floor-level oxygen by day 5. The victims died in their sleep. Not from an explosion, not dramatically. They went to bed with headaches that they attributed to stress and recycled air, and their organs simply stopped working sometime before morning. Their bunker didn't fail them, their toilet did. Now here is the part where someone in the comments is going to say they have a composting toilet or a chemical toilet or a professionally installed septic system, so this doesn't apply to them. Let's go through those. Composting toilets produce ammonia as organic material breaks down. Ammonia is acutely toxic at 300 parts per million. In a sealed space with no ventilation, a single composting unit serving 4 people can reach dangerous concentrations within 72 hours. The commercial units designed for off-grid cabins are vented to the outside, which is not something you have. The same unit in a sealed environment is a slow ammonia generator sitting in your living room. Chemical toilets, the blue liquid systems, suppress bacterial activity and odor through biocide chemicals. Formaldehyde-based systems release formaldehyde vapor as the tank fills. Formaldehyde is a carcinogen at any concentration, and an acute respiratory irritant at levels that a full tank in a sealed room will exceed within 48 hours. You bought a toilet that replaces one poison with a different, more expensive poison. And the professional septic installation, the $15,000 system with the proper macerator pump and the 500-gallon holding tank, requires a vent pipe to the surface. That vent pipe is currently sitting in the contaminated zone. Every time your system off-gasses, it is pulling outside air inward to equalize pressure. The air coming in through that vent pipe is whatever is on the surface right now. You sealed yourself in to get away from what's up there. Your toilet just punched a hole in the wall. So you've addressed the toilet, you've dealt with the sewage, you've done what you could with chemical neutralizers and sealed the bathroom and told the kids it's a game, it's fine, everyone is fine. You take a breath. And that breath is warmer than the last one. Not a lot warmer, maybe half a degree. Something you'd barely notice if you weren't already terrified and hyper-attuned to every sensation inside this metal box. But you notice. And you should be scared because the toilet was only the fastest way to die down here. The second fastest way involves something you cannot see, cannot smell, cannot fix, and cannot stop. And it's been building since the moment you sealed that door. Next time on Bunker Audit, your bunker is a heat trap. Your body generates 100 watts of thermal energy per hour. The Earth surrounding you has a thermal conductivity of roughly 0.5 watts per meter Kelvin. Your cooling plan, whatever it is, was designed for a surface structure with convective airflow. You do not have convective airflow. You have a metal box. In 6 days, the temperature inside your shelter will exceed 95 degrees Fahrenheit. In 12, it will exceed 104. Your freeze-dried food has a 5-year shelf life. You have about 9 days. And look, you can close this video right now. Go back to your spreadsheets of canned goods and your color-coded evacuation binders. That's fine, most people do. But if some part of you just realized that you've been planning for the wrong kind of death, subscribe. Not because we're going to save you, we're not. The physics don't care about your subscription status. But because every week, we run the numbers that the survival industry doesn't want you to run. The heat math, the oxygen math, the quiet, unglamorous ways that sealed underground spaces kill the people who built them with their own hands and their own savings and their absolute best intentions. You spent money preparing for this. The least you can do is understand what you actually prepared. The button's there. Hit it or don't. Either way, day 6 is coming.